Well, good afternoon or good evening if you're in the beautiful USA. And if you are overseas, it's already Super Saturday morning. I am Bruce, often known as the guy in the blue shirt on LinkedIn here. And my process method is called Simpler, Faster, Better. And I am honored and delighted to have a fellow consummate learner and educator, Dr. Gina Anderson. I call you Gina, right? In
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so glad to be here.
South Carolina, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of alligators here. You got to watch out. They'll chase you.
Well, I haven't seen an alligator in Phoenix, Arizona recently, so we're good.
They're good. Yeah, they're fast. They're fast.
Oh, yeah, they are very fast. So, yeah, a little bit of context. And if you are watching in the comments, just remember Gina and I don't know you're there unless you at least say hi. If you're shy, say hi. If you're not shy, then say hi as well, because otherwise we won't know you're there. And we will have a very free flowing open dialogue. Gina's up for that. And we were chit chatting in what they call the green room, and we have a lot of things in common, as it turns out. So, so I just love asking guests. I use my intuition to get there. That's one of the things I do. But if I may, I want to take a couple of minutes because one of our pet peeves that we both hit upon was pitch slapping or the pitch unloaders in direct messaging. Like every day this year so far, 90% of my
Wow.
direct messages have been people that, they mean well, they send a connection request, but they just can't seem to refrain from offering something, a pitch deck, their services. So, I want to point out I use the 4 C's on LinkedIn. So I start with a conversation, and that's how I first started to watch what you were doing. I started to engage in a conversation in your comments. So, conversation or comments. And then we reached out to connect, and you said yes, which was great. So, conversation leads to a connection. And then what happens then is that through that connection, you're going to jive with certain people, and I only jive with 6% of the people that I ever meet. So,
Yeah.
so a lot of room for opportunity not to jive with people. But what I find is those people are drawn into, my own community here. So that's the 3rd C. And that's why you're live stream guest. I feel that you would be a great add to the community both ways. And then what I do is I collaborate only with people in my community. So I'm not you might have the best product and service on the planet, but if you're going to tactically try and you know pitch me like a shopping mall in LinkedIn, then
Oh,
forget it. I'm not buying from the shopping mall in LinkedIn. I only work with people that are in my community, and I collaborate with them. So that's how I do it. What are your
absolutely.
thoughts?
No, I mean, absolutely. I own a company and I mean, at least LinkedIn is starting to like filter out some of that, Bruce,
Yeah.
but honestly, it is like all the time, all
I
the
know.
time. It's a
Yeah,
lot.
it's funny. If they just use some if and what logic on,
Mm,
like if the person's direct messaging you and it's a connection request, then they have to be able to know that what they're saying is either a pitch deck, a pitch slap, an offer. It's like,
yeah,
they've got to be able to figure it out, but I guess they don't want to
not
use.
yet. They're not using AI yet or something. They need to like work their AI to get that right, filter it.
Sure. Well, in the setup, we discovered a lot of common ground. So I know we both like to learn, and we
Mm,
come from a challenging background. So,
mhm.
Innovations of Learning, great title. I saw that on a post of yours, so I stole it.
Oh, that's fine. I share. It's not called stealing, it's called sharing.
Sharing.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So, based on what you've been doing with your technology company, maybe give us I also like little success stories, and then maybe a story that didn't go so well and what you learned from it. So So how about
Oh,
you do a little success story with?
yeah. So my passion, like Bruce said, is learning. I study the brain and how people learn, and I started my career as a special education teacher. So really trying to help those who didn't learn the same way as how everyone was taught.
Right.
Currently, we work with truck drivers. Everyone
Hmm.
knows there's a lot of truck drivers on the street. And Bruce, if I told you how horrific the truck drivers are currently being trained, you would, I don't know, you might, I don't know
Oh.
what you would do. But I'm sure race car drivers are trained a little bit better, but truck drivers are not. So a success story is really trying to figure out and work with the drivers and work with the carriers to
Hmm.
understand how humans learn and then
Right.
giving them those opportunities. So a success story is, to be direct of what you asked me. We had a truck driver whose truck was on fire. And well, first of all,
Wow.
I have to say that they didn't know their truck was on fire, so that's kind of a problem. But another driver told them their truck was on fire. So they pulled over, and when they pulled over, they successfully put out the fire. And when the police came to give him a ticket, write him up for the DOT and so forth, they asked him, "Well, how did you remember how to do that?" And he said, "Well, it was because of my eNugget, or my learning provider, that helped me remember this to be able to do this." And the police officer did not write him up. The carrier called me and said, "Wow, the learning
Wow.
science that you're doing is really helping. And not only with that driver, but improving safety scores." So, absolutely, my passion is to help people learn so they live a better life and also they stay safe. So,
Yeah.
that's my success story.
Awesome. So begins with S. So I have a method called 6S, and actually the first S is safety first. So
Oh, see?
let's see. So
Mm-hmm,
I'm all
mm-hmm,
about safety first, and yeah, I find it intriguing myself. I mean, I am a very strange learner in the fact
mm-hmm,
that I can't dual task. So I know that very
mm-hmm,
well about myself. I never
mm-hmm.
admitted that I couldn't dual task. So I used
Okay.
to pretend that I could dual or multitask, and basically, the performance on two things were suffering then instead of just the one thing, right?
Mm, mm,
Uh,
yeah. Well,
so go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, it's interesting you say that, but I bet in high school, I mean, we talked about this. You probably were taught the same way everybody else in that classroom was taught, right? And so
Yeah.
that's really the hurdle. But honestly, with technology where it is today, we're able to differentiate instruction. That is a buzzword, and people like to talk about it, but truly individualizing learning in different ways
Right.
and different modes is essential. And when you do that, you can reach a lot of different learners.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, I am a bizarre learner. I'm a kinesthetic, so I am not book smart at all. I mean,
Mm,
I did 11 years in a row of book smart work
mhm.
when I had a full time job, and I went to college part time for 11 years in a row. But that was tenacity rather than
Oh,
anything to do with
mhm,
being book smart. But yeah, so I'm very kinesthetic. I'm a visual learner, even though I have a weird eye condition, and and well, because my other senses are pretty tuned in. So,
yeah,
um,
makes sense.
and I come from an all female household, so my intuition is pretty high for a guy. So I often,
Uh-huh.
so
That's
yeah,
outstanding. Yeah, well, definitely knowing your learning preference is the first step. But when you have somebody making the choices and how you're going to learn, and they
uh-huh,
don't understand or know how you want to learn, there's an issue there. Because if
yeah,
nobody has asked you, like if you're listening and nobody at your organization has asked, how do you like or what's your preference for learning? There's going to be a disconnect.
yeah.
I learn best in my pajamas. If I'm in my pajamas, I can learn, anything. But look, if they're going to make me go to a classroom, the conferences are the worst because
Right.
they put everybody in a room and you go there for 5 days, you don't remember anything.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but people don't know any different.
Well, and it's funny because that kind of group think at conferences, there's something about the energy that changes, and like you, I don't really remember too much, and yeah,
Mhm.
if I have to wear dress pants and nice shoes,
Right. It's
I
not a good
agree.
environment. Mm-mm.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
there's definitely in learning science studying the brain, it's called cognitive overload.
Hmm.
Honestly, your brain, it starts with the fact that it can only hold a certain amount of information to begin with,
Right.
right? And then you're going to put more information. And if you don't have prior knowledge, you're going to lose it anyway. I'm really passionate about it. So as you can see,
Right.
I could talk a lot about the brain.
Well, I didn't know this, but I have a little saying.
Yeah.
And I use a computer term, so I actually have to defrag my brain every week. And
Oh, interesting.
yeah, and
Mhm.
actually, I think people think I'm being kind of boastful, but the way I defrag my brain, particularly on LinkedIn, is every Saturday I do a shout out Saturday. And I find that if I download kind of my best moments and sometimes my not so best moments
Yeah.
into a weekly recap post, it really helps declutter my brain. So I liken it to, I defrag the hard drives on my computer every week. So why
Yeah.
wouldn't you
So how
defrag your.
many So how many, Bruce, how many items do you pick out to defragment? Like, do you have, because I can tell you what science would say, but I just want to hear what Bruce would say. How many items do you defragment?
Um, So at least one a day.
Oh, okay.
And often they're the most meaningful, which means that they've absorbed a lot of energy for me to remember,
Oh,
and they've got an emotional attachment to me.
got
So
it.
not only is my brain worked hard, but the rest of my
Right,
body and the senses in its whole meridian system.
right.
So if I defrag those,
Uh-huh.
it's almost like being plugged into a supercomputer where sucks all that out of you. So
That makes sense. Well, definitely if it's something meaningful to you. You said that your preference is kinesthetic, so that
yeah,
aligns perfectly.
right. Well, and then the other thing is, behaviorally I'm ambivert. So
Oh, got it.
when I do events or even things like this,
Uh-huh.
I have to have a lot of quiet on my own recharge time, and sometimes people don't get that. They think I'm like dual mooded, because sometimes I'm
Yeah.
super quiet and don't want to be with anyone, and then other people think, well, I'm kind of the extroverted, host. I do LinkedIn local in-person
Uh-huh.
meetings as well,
Yeah.
but I'm not that way at all. Behaviorally, I'm ambivert. So
Yeah, I'm very similar. So I don't, people think I'm extroverted, but when I go to a
right,
conference and have to speak, I speak and then I want to go in my hotel room. And what do I want to do? Put on my jammies. I don't want to
absolutely,
be with people, right? It's like, I'll come out and do this, but I guarantee you after this, I'm done. That's it.
right. Yeah, I don't want to do the happy glad stuff after. Like, get me
No,
out of there.
absolutely. And I think that's important to understand when you're training and learning with people is really what their preferences are. And I don't
Yeah,
think a lot of times work environments take that into consideration because they're number one, they're too busy,
yeah,
right? And they don't have the resources.
right.
Hmm.
So actually, what I do, and I have a really good customer that I contract with, and I go to their site 3 times a day, 3 times a week in person. And
Hmm.
so what I do is, I'm kind of go 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 most of the morning, and then I will take my Apple and go for a walk, literally
Oh,
around the
yeah.
block, and that's kind of my recharge time. So
Oh,
and then I find that the afternoon it's almost like I get, top back up and I can go, go, go again. And then the drive home, I don't listen to anything. I don't do any
mhm.
calls. Again, I use the drive home as my recharge time for ambivert. And then I come home and I start doing my other stuff like
That's
this.
that's an awesome reminder for people to recharge. I actually know the brain, it says the first few moments of the day, it should
Yeah.
be, what do you think the first thing people do when they wake up is?
They grab their phone.
Exactly. So the light of the phone isn't the first thing you should see. It should be natural sunlight.
Right.
So I get up in the morning and the first thing I do is it's dark when I go out, but
Right.
by the time I'm done running and I come back, the sun is out and it helps me recharge and start my day out right. But I like that apple in the afternoon because that
Hmm.
really does help you refocus. Even if you think about the days you spend and you take 15 minutes not to look at your phone,
Yeah.
like how good you feel, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I take it with me because of security, because it's a high secure area. But I put it in my back pocket or in my coat, and yeah,
Mhm.
I just enjoy my apple and just wander
Yeah, what about,
around.
especially, I mean, if it has caramel on it, it's a caramel candy apple, that'd be the best.
That would be. I wouldn't go back to work if it had caramel.
You might go back, you might go to sleep.
No, I'd want to go home and make some hot tea. So
Oh,
I'm a
yeah,
Brit, so
that's
I
true.
have hot tea late afternoon still. Can't give that up. It's in my
No,
system,
no.
part of my DNA.
Yeah, we all have it, and it's very important to know what it is so you can make yourself happy.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are listening to us, again, we can't see you, and sometimes the comments don't play fair with StreamYard, particularly LinkedIn. So if you are there, don't be silent. Please don't be shy. We won't bite, right, Gina?
No, I definitely won't. Although I don't know if everyone would agree with that.
No. Well, if your primary audience is truck drivers, they're not the best.
Yeah,
Um, they're not the easiest guys and gals to deal with. So talking of that, I've noticed there is a big where there was such a shortage of truck drivers. It's awesome to see a lot of ladies have taken it up as a
yeah.
career. So
Hmm.
do you have a pretty
Yeah.
equal share with?
No, absolutely not. I will say this. Now they're really the shortage is like it comes and goes.
Right.
So right now there is kind of like a lot of drivers.
Mhm.
So their carriers are really focused on keeping the safest drivers, as you had mentioned.
Right.
But there is an imbalance between females, not only drivers, but companies in the industry, but also
Yeah.
drivers. There is a lot of support kind of focused on that to try to encourage young females to go into truck driving.
Right.
And when you ask females, why isn't a career that kind of aligns with them? And there's a lot of answers. Family is a big one.
Right.
Um, Pay is another one. Although I would say female drivers obviously should be paid the same as male drivers.
Yeah.
And they're paid really well. I actually think sometimes I should give up what I'm doing and actually start driving, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, females are very much welcomed and encouraged to join trucking. It's a safety thing too. You're out on the road for many,
Right.
many hours. It's a tough job. Those truck drivers, look, I run in the morning, like I said, 5 a.m. I'm running by Costco and there's a truck there
Yeah.
and bringing our paper products. So thank you. Shout out to the truck drivers. They keep our world going. And yeah, definitely females there are females, but there is a shortage of
Yeah.
females. Yeah.
Yeah, and we should encourage them. I mean, given I try not to be biased, but given a choice between a smart guy and an extra smart female, I will
Yeah.
encourage the extra smart female because they're gonna. I don't know. They
They're
just
going
have
to
a.
care about it, Bruce. They want to make sure it's done that they're doing it for different reasons a lot of times than the male
Mm.
truck drivers, but all truck drivers are important. So thank
Oh,
you, truck
absolutely.
drivers. I'll give you a big
Yeah,
heart.
absolutely. Hey, we
Hmm.
learned the hard way during COVID and the aftermath of COVID, and in fact,
Mm.
I was near the Los Angeles port still. And
Oh,
there's still a massive recently, and I'm going back there next week. But there's still a massive, backlog of containers being in the
yeah.
wrong place at the wrong time. And
Mm.
the last time I checked, there were more than 1 million containers in the wrong place
Wow.
at the wrong time still because
Mm.
they've never readjusted. And then obviously, there's a big push to reshore a lot of industries that we offshored. So
Yeah.
reshoring them is a whole lot harder and more complicated than when we offshored a bunch of stuff. But it's
Yeah.
good, and I think that's probably why there's more opportunities for the drivers as well. That the more industries we bring back on shore, and the more industries we coordinate with, an integrated supply chain better, the better it will be. So
Right. Absolutely supporting them and training them and making sure that they're have the information they need. Drivers have a lot of opportunities. Carriers are always looking for safe
right,
drivers that are committed to learning. So I think if that fits you and you're listening today and you don't have a position and you're looking for a new career, it's tough. It's not easy, but
Right.
goodness, the opportunity.
Yeah. So, what do you see? What are some of the trends you're seeing with some of the companies that are offering learning opportunities for the drivers? I mean, is it just
Yeah.
skill-based training, or is it bigger than that?
Yeah, it's so much bigger. So a lot of drivers are out on the road. And interestingly enough, when you ask a driver, Bruce, what do they want to learn? What do you think they say? What do you think of the top topics of what a driver wants to learn?
Um, Maybe something to do with technology, or I don't know.
Yeah, so drivers. So last year we did a research study with the drivers, over 700,000 drivers, and we asked them what do they want to learn. And the topics they want to learn about are gratitude, how to deal with depression. These
Oh,
topics that the Surgeon General pointed out that one in eight adults over the eight, or 1 in 4 adults over the age of 18 are lonely. They want to
right.
learn about finance. They want to learn these topics. And so one of the key things that a lot of innovative companies are doing is this method called learner to learner engagement.
Uh-huh.
So learner to learner engagement, most people think of learner to content engagement. If
Right.
somebody's on the road and they're feeling lonely, they want to connect. So
Hmm.
bringing the drivers together, the ones that have been driving for 35 to 40 years and the drivers that are brand new, connecting them on the issues and challenges with the safety managers to build
Right.
these learning communities. You talk about your community, it's building these in learning environments so drivers can be safe, connected, and feel secure. And I think
Right.
that's so critical.
So, what's one of the most progressive things you've seen, either with a small group of drivers, or what are you seeing happening?
Yeah, so some of the drivers are sharing about their own social emotional wellness. And
Mhm.
you would think like guys, these are, strong
Yeah.
guys or truck drivers. They don't really want to share these things. And it's really opening when you can save somebody's life from committing suicide or, going down the wrong path from a mental standpoint to be
Right.
able to share those thoughts and be connected to somebody who cares. To me,
Hmm.
that's what it's about. It's about saving lives, whether it's how to skill based or from a mental emotional standpoint. People, they've had rough, a lot of them have had rough pasts, like
Right.
we've talked about earlier, and they need that support. And so that's what I see is drivers standing up and supporting each other and letting go of their egos of being men and strong and just really caring about each other at the core. We have a mascot, and the mascot's is Nugget, and people kind of joked with me, and they're always like, Gina, that's like elementary. Truck drivers aren't going to like it, but it's a symbol of learner centeredness, of connecting with each other and loving each other, and the drivers really do like it.
Hmm.
We have people sharing it, and it's a sign of being connected. And that to me is the most critical and amazing thing, is to see adults, men connecting in ways and helping each other overcome being bullying in the workplace or being isolated, just really caring about
Right.
each other.
Yeah, I hadn't actually thought of that element, but that's pretty cool that that's happening. And way to go, the truck drivers, for being allowing themselves to be vulnerable and probably open for some pretty harsh criticism from time to time. But way to go, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the carriers, some of them are still slow about, let's talk about and let's like have them engage in health and wellness topics, because that's not been done, right? It's been,
Right.
let's teach them how to drive a truck.
Hmm.
But, if they're on the road for who knows how long, these things, they're sitting in their truck alone with their
Yeah.
minds. And so we have to help them overcome these thoughts that are in their head and come to a better place.
Yeah. The mind's a powerful thing, both positively and negatively.
Absolutely. And
So,
depending on what comes in, never know what you're going to continue to think about.
sure. Yeah, and even the physical safety, because if I'm driving a truck, that's a whole lot more of
Yeah.
a real estate to you don't want to be getting the truck in the wrong place, because they do a lot of damage when they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. So
no, let me tell you this. So one of the tools that we've created that has been really powerful for that is, so before, like in this industry, what happens is to the truck driver, they send them a video and they
uh-huh,
say, watch this video of how to back. We were talking about like backing into a
uh-huh,
parking lot, right?
right.
Okay, well, it's generic. It's like you backing your race car somewhere. It's like it doesn't,
Right.
make a connection. Excuse me. But what they're doing is with immersion, it's basically you take the little Google man and you put him in a map and you can look around. It's like
Right.
taking your environment where you don't need any headset.
Right.
Well, the truck drivers are able to, when they use our system, the carriers, they'll go out to the parking lots. It takes 5 minutes. You take the phone, you scan it, you
Uh-huh,
upload it in the system. You tell the driver, this is store, you're going to go to this Home Depot,
right.
store number 207. It's downtown Chicago. So you're going to
Mhm.
like see this bolo. That driver, before they go there, the parking lot video isn't going to make a difference. But
Right.
you send them the store and they can look at it and it's like, holy cow, we've cut all of our accidents out. It's like,
Right.
yes, absolutely. Because authentic learning, meaningful learning is critical to the drivers. They don't care about a parking video. They care
Yeah.
about the store that they're going to head to in 10 minutes.
Right.
Yes.
You know what? It's funny you say that because when I'm going somewhere new, I always drop the address into Google Maps and then I
Uh-huh.
look at the street view because I
Right.
am a visual kinesthetic learner, and I
Yes.
find that even though I use Google Maps for direction, if I've
Yeah.
actually looked at the surroundings before I get there,
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
way easier to make sure you get to the right place at the right time without being distracted.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Because you need to see it. So imagine going to a client or someone for the first time and being able to look around the entire terminal, knowing where you're
yeah,
going, knowing who you're going to talk to, having a person, an actual custom person who you're going to see,
right.
everything there that you can search and pull up. I mean, absolutely. It is making such a difference.
Oh, I hadn't thought of it. I thought it was just me being quirky because of my visual.
No, no, it's immersive learning, and it's
Immersive.
this is something that isn't new. It's been in the learning science, but now because we have AI and different technologies, we built it and it's there.
Oh,
So
awesome. Yep.
yeah,
Well,
cool.
this behind me is my immersive learning. People can come to
Yeah.
my 3D headquarters, and not only can they learn about me, but they can learn how to navigate not only my headquarters, but the city it's in, and all the learning and all the fun things that they can do. And yeah, so
That's
lot.
exciting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they
Uh,
can they can move in that environment. That's amazing.
yeah, no
Mm.
headset. It's just a
Yep.
regular internet connection, and yeah, you create their own avatar. I'm not in there. It's my
Yeah, I
avatar.
see
Oh,
it.
there he is. Yeah.
Absolutely. You know what, Bruce? This was like you'll remember this. Back, I don't know, maybe 3 decades ago, Pizza Hut was doing something like this on their website. They had like you could like click on their pizza oven and you could see. I never forgot that. It's like always something I remembered. Like someday, and we're there. The someday is now. This is
Yeah,
like you can create any environment for learning.
absolutely. And I'm glad you said that. The someday is now, and I'm trying to make sure, particularly people in my age space, that they've got to realize they've got to unlearn a lot of things they've learned, and
Mm,
they're going to have to do a lot of relearning if they're going to be able to do basic stuff online, because longer term, the 2D flat websites are
yeah,
they're going to disappear. It's all
yeah.
going to be three-dimensional immersive learning, immersive discovery, and
Mm.
searching is going to become completely different than it was before. So
Absolutely. Innovation is happening now. And if you're not open to that,
right.
it's kind of like, shoot, do you remember the flip phone? I was the worst person ever. I did not want to get rid of my flip phone. I'm like, no, no, no. And
Right.
I got a smartphone. It changed good and bad. I mean, there's good and bad with everything. It's scary. Change is hard, but there's
Sure.
also good with it. So
Yeah. Well, it is scary. My smartphone's way smarter than me, and
me too. Me too. It,
it
it,
does
it
what.
knows what I want to eat because when I pick it up, it'll tell me what I'm hungry for.
Oh, I know. It's like it's bizarre. I don't know. Anyway, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, funny story, or how about a funny story from, particularly with the truck drivers are an interesting
Oh my
eco
gosh.
career.
Well, I
So,
don't know if it's funny or not. I mean, it might be kind of scary. It's kind of a warning, I would think, for truck drivers. So I would say, so some of our clients use online proctoring, like photo taking to make sure, because if you're taking online learning, how do you know who, I mean, I could say I'm you and go in
right,
and take your training. So some carriers elect to take photos, and I'm telling you, some of these drivers, I mean, if they know they're getting their photo taken, I would not be in the bathtub or anything like that. Like, don't put your pajamas on, or put your pajamas on, I guess I should say, if you're
right.
going to do learning, because Big Brother sometimes is watching you. They know the camera is there. It's like this. I know I'm on camera. So definitely, it's funny, but it's not funny. Truck drivers, they like to put different icons up that maybe are borderline, maybe not appropriate. So I think, it's a balance between being comfortable and also being professional. So
Well,
um, yeah, I don't know. Funny it can be when you see a photo, but sometimes it's not as so funny. But yeah, you can imagine.
well, sometimes it's genuine lack of knowledge as well.
Yeah.
And that's why, back to my pet peeve with LinkedIn right now. That's why I don't assume people know the protocols. If I think the person really means well, I will actually, because I've done a couple of live streams about the
Hmm.
4Cs, and so I'll say, hey, why don't you watch this live stream and see if it helps you? And some people say yes, and some people say no, and it's okay. You can,
Yeah, it's
everyone,
education. I wrote an article, the difference between learning, training, education, and content providers, and that's education that
right.
you're talking about. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, education, and to me, it's a bigger step. It's kind of mentoring and coaching, so
Oh,
that
sure.
so
Hmm.
they don't either waste their time or get sideways with too many people, because you know you never know when you might actually need that resource in the future, right? And if you've gotten
Yeah.
sideways with somebody because of the way that you first introduce yourself, then it's not worth it.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Got to redeem yourself at some point.
Oh, I'm unredeemable. I'm not like a voucher, I'm
Oh,
not.
you're not? Once you cash in, that's it. You can't get your no voucher. You can't get it back. Oh,
I
well.
try. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I'm less than perfect.
absolutely.
I used to
Nobody's
think,
perfect.
yeah, but I used to think I was a lot more perfect than I actually am. So,
Yeah. Oh, well, we all know everyone makes mistakes.
yeah. Well, moving around does that to you. I've moved
Oh,
a lot.
yeah. Wow, how many places have you lived?
Oh, a lot. I've actually worked and lived in 6 different countries, and
Wow. Oh my gosh. What's the best place? All right, so tell us the best. You probably already told people this, but where did you learn the most, and what was the best place you thought was that you lived?
here, here. So,
Oh, okay.
so for the first 39 years of my life before I moved here, I never kind of fitted in. I didn't feel
Yeah.
like I fitted in. I always felt
Mhm.
odd or out of place. And
Uh-huh.
so when I moved here, I had to unlearn everything I'd learned up to that
Mhm.
point, and I had to relearn it all. And there was a huge assumption, because we both countries speak English, but American
Oh.
English and English is totally different.
Oh.
Number one.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And number two, the protocols are completely different. The
Oh,
culture is like 180 degrees different.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I had to relearn. I had to unlearn all the systems are different. I had to relearn mail, taxes, shopping, weights and
Mhm.
measures, driving on the other side of the street,
Right.
sentence sentencing structure. Don't use sarcasm. Blah blah blah. All the
Yeah.
things that I used to do when I was back in the UK. None of them worked
Mhm.
here. So
Wow. Yeah,
yep.
that's a huge adjustment. Have you written a book about it?
Actually, part of Rough Around the Edges is talking
Oh
about that.
gosh, I love
So
that.
that will be a memoir that should hit the streets either late this month or early in February. We'll see.
Oh, that's outstanding. Can you share your title or is it top secret?
It is called Rough Around the Edges.
Oh, that's the title.
That's the title. It's
Awesome.
the hashtag.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
and it's
Mhm.
talking about not necessarily the rough parts of my life, but
Yeah.
how we how we touch upon edges. We get right to the edge, and then something happens, and we create a new edge. Or
Oh, that's perfect. I
so,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So that's great.
And rough is spelled RUFF because I came up with a title because I did a little thing with a English bulldog that was wearing
Oh,
a Union Jack tie, and I did some
yeah.
pictures with him, and I went rough because a bulldog
Uh-huh.
rough like that.
Yeah.
So I came up with this rough around the edges
That's
thing for the
excellent.
bulldog.
Are you
So
gonna have the photo of the dog on the cover? Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Anything with a dog on it will sell. Yeah.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah,
Good to
that's
know.
perfect. Good to know. Yeah,
All
that's
right.
good.
Okay. So again, if you are listening in, I don't see any comments, but that's not unusual because StreamYard and LinkedIn are not friends sometimes. So,
No.
but it will go up as a replay. So, how about what do you got coming up for the next couple of months this year? Some exciting
Yeah,
stuff?
so we're releasing an innovation in a few weeks, and it's going to blow the industry's mind, Bruce. I don't even think people are going to be ready for it. You talk about innovation is now. I mean, it's now. So
Mhm.
I'm really passionate about differentiated learning, about delivering training when people need it and the type of learning that they need. So building learning plans and basing it on safety data and different data that you can bring in to see
Right.
what helps improve safety. And so I can't say the name yet. I got to
No.
keep it top secret. I almost said it. My team would say I was spoiling it. So, but in any case, I'm really excited about that innovation. It's going to be our gift to the industry for Valentine's.
Oh, cool. So
Yeah.
this is for the trucking logistics industry or
It
any industry?
is. It is. So we focus on transportation.
Right.
However, it could be pivoted at any point, but we're
Right.
really focused in that area. But yeah, it's something that has been written about and talked about since I was a teacher many decades ago. So I
Right.
think that now is the time. Teachers don't know how to differentiate instruction. You can talk about it till you're blue in the face, but how are you going to do this? So we
Right.
have the how, and I don't
Okay.
think it's hasn't been done before
Awesome.
that I know of.
So how did you morph into trucking and transportation?
Yeah, so I was well, we still have some higher education clients. Our company designed higher education courses. My
Right.
office was across the street from Notre Dame, and there
Okay.
was a company next door to me that said, Gina, you should go look and see how these truck drivers are being trained because you're doing some innovative things. You probably could help these drivers. So I
Right.
was observing, I was going to call centers and going around and watching how drivers were trained, and I was horrified.
Right.
I was like, what is going on in this industry? So what's in this industry are content providers.
Uh-huh.
Look, with AI and chat GPT, you're going to have tons of content. That's not going to help with learning.
Right.
It's just a piece of it. So anyways, AI wasn't on the forefront then. 10 years ago is when we entered into this industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I started, a couple carriers gave us a chance to work with them, some pretty large carriers. And from there, I mean, we just started really helping. It was all bootstrap. Yep.
Right.
Just, you find something that makes people more safe, and it's a need, it's a gap that they have. The safety is horrific in trucking.
Yes.
So that's the problem we're solving. So that's how I got involved.
So from a big picture perspective, what has happened? Those companies that used you and still use you, what's happened to
Yeah.
their incident rate or
Yeah.
percentages?
So I have a white paper. You can download it on our website. It is from 2 years ago, where we actually studied. I did a correlational study. I'm a
Uh-huh.
researcher on the incident rates. And there was a direct correlation for the administrators who used the learning and the learning plan and strategies that we provide versus those that did not. And
Right.
the safety improvements have been outstanding. Furthermore, a lot of clients have seen a huge reduction in cost because, as you can imagine, before the truck drivers all had to come in person. Now, we're not replacing classroom in-person training because, like you said, hands-on with the truck you still need. But some of this can be done in a blended way. Blended learning is a powerful method for learning, as you know. And so working with clients, they've saved lots of money. Like millions of dollars. We've saved a lot of trees. A couple of years ago, I was giving away, I donated for every tree we saved, I donated a tree to the National Forest. And we gave little tree pods to all our clients to plant a tree. We saved so much trees because paper we've made gone digital. And then the other thing we've helped with is increased engagement. So you can imagine those dry, boring, stale videos. Drivers just like, they tune out. So we track engagement. Drivers complete their training first of the month. They go in and they log in and look at training that's interesting to them. They connect with each other. We're building engagement and retention. So we've had companies report increased retention and engagement specifically because of they believe their learning programs that they've developed. And so I'm not an online zealot. I don't think that online is good for everybody. It's certainly not. But a blended program is really effective for reaching different learners in different ways. So yeah, those are some of the awesome things that have happened. And not every company wants to innovate. You know, there's still companies that want to check a box. And I would just say that, you know, if you're going to check a box, there's consequences to that, you know, in terms of safety and the drivers' lives.
Right. Yeah. You mentioned a keyword, retention is, you know, there's a lot of hidden costs and a lot of hidden emotional damage when you have a hostile work environment that doesn't create retention and blah, blah, blah. So,
yeah, absolutely. Building connections.
We have way more in common than I realized. You know, my method is simpler, faster, better, and it's all about saving process steps, time, and money. And
wow, yeah, absolutely, we're connected. That's how we knew. That's why when we talked, we knew like this is. We have a lot of synergy. See,
we do, yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
absolutely.
Another good S word, synergy, not synergism.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, how do you prefer people to get a hold of you? And then I'm going to do a little outtake and a little fun video.
Absolutely. So if you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on LinkedIn, Dr. Gina Anderson with Luma Brighter Learning. You also can go to my website, learningwithgina.com. Certainly, once you're at learningwithgina.com, you'll have my email and my phone number and also my YouTube. So certainly reach out.
Okay. Yeah. And please, when I post the replay a little later this evening for you, please drop all those links in there. We'd love to have them.
Yeah, absolutely.
All cool. All right. So thank you. I'm going to do a couple of little outtakes. One is more serious than the second one. So I just want to show everyone a little bit about what I do. So here we go. This is my brand story.
You're frustrated that you have no time and you just hate it. You lost your mind. You're running around the kids and the spouse, and the business that was once your passion has got you burnt out. So, consult with Bruce, the guy in the...
Well, we'll try again.
You're frustrated that you have no time and you just hate it. You lost your mind. You're running around the kids and the spouse, and the business that was once your passion has got you burnt out.
No, it don't want to play. How about that?
Oh.
How bizarre. Or could you hear it? Could you see it?
I could hear it. It stopped, but I could hear it.
Oh, okay. Then, all right. I'll drop it in the comments. Anyway, so Devin James was the person that helped capture my brand story, which is about saving process steps, time, and money. So I'll drop the link in the comments. But and then Devin, when I decided to do this adventure in the Omniverse with my 3D headquarters, I said to Devin, wouldn't it be cool if we did something different? So we'll see if this will play. This is super cool. All right. We ended up creating 3 spaces, which people are going to be able to see. And we ended up with spaces called connect and shop and play.
You don't want to miss out. That's all I'm going to say. The right place, the right time, the right tech. In the Omniverse is where I place my bet.
Connect and shop and play.
Imagine having Google stocks back in the day when you got up on the ground floor. Pennies to the dollar. This is opportunity calling, so you better yell holla.
Outstanding, Bruce.
Who would have thought I could have done a rap song at 60? You know?
I love it.
60 something. Anyway, but you know, I did it to try and get, you know, people. It's not an age restricted thing. Learning is all about just, you know, deciding, hey, do I want to learn or not, and find the mechanism that best suits you and learn it in your own way, right? So,
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me today.
You're welcome. All right, don't disappear. And
all right.
Apologies for the first take. All right, bye everyone. Please comment. It will go as replay. I often get lots of comments on replay, so that's cool as well. All right, hang for a minute, Gina. Bye.
Bye.